Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. Guys, in this video today, I'm going to tell you something very swift, very quick, and very straight to the point. If you've noticed, especially on my channel over the years, I've gotten kind of quiet, especially this past year. Now, that's due to things in my own life and due to the fact that I find that you can only say so much to this generation and they're not going to listen and do anything about it. I do encourage those of you who are out there that desire to fellowship one with another to, by all means, not forsake the assembling of yourselves together, but by all means stay clear of Babylon and churchianity today, because let's face it, the church follows the doctrines of the church and not that of the Scripture most often. That's why people are fleeing the church houses today. We live in a very unique generation, one that fulfills scriptural prophecy right down to the letter, and I'm going to go over that here in just a second. But you know, if you're looking for a companion, a loved one, or you're looking for friends, or you're looking at your own family and the people that you should surround yourself with, what I'm about to read out of scripture in a minute pretty much thins the herd really quick. And it's also been kind of a guide, many of the things that's in it is a kind of a guide to me to thinning the herd myself of any toxic people that would be in my life, because let's face it, it's better to cut off that which is toxic in our life and not let it affect us or drag us down in the end than for it to affect our salvation. I don't have my Hallelujah Scriptures Bible today, but I do have, I do have it on me, but I don't have the pocket edition, so I'm going to use my little New Testament. But it says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, and I hope this is a help to people. I'm going to break this. I'm going to read this through, and from first verse down to 7, and once I get down to 7, then I'm just going to go back and go over everything with everybody. It says, this is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 7. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Elohim, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. Avoid such people, for among them are those who creep into households, capture weak women, burdened with sins and led astray by various passions, always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. If you look at our generation, I don't know of any other point in time in the history of humanity that it is so on key. And I'm just going to run down through this real quickly. And, based off this alone should be how that we, because a lot of people say they're believers. A lot of people say that they try to walk in the Torah. A lot of people say that, they want to do that which is right by the Most High. But at the end of the day, if you look at the fruit of people, and listen, ladies and gentlemen, let me just be very clear as I go through this, because I've said this for years, so this never has changed. Luke is a sinner. I am unworthy of the kingdom. I pray, Father, y'all forgive me, because I'm a sinner. Every day I pray the Spirit take hold of my life and keep me from failing, and never lose hope of salvation for that which has been sealed by the Spirit. With that said, you start out, people will be lovers of self. I have no way to number the amount of people that I've crossed paths with that they are so self-absorbed. They are consumed with self. They wouldn't do nothing to help another human being. It is me, 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 me. I want to talk about me. I think about that Toby Keith song. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about I, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's about like that. Lovers of money. Oh my gosh, people. I make a lot of money in what I do, thankfully, with construction. And I just constantly just throw it away, or give it to somebody to help some people, or do this or that with it, or do something with it anymore. Because I hate money. Oh, it's just like, it is such a control measure of the human race. And not only that, but it just consumes people's mind. They set that up as an idol. Proud, arrogant, abusive. I don't even think I need to break those down. People like that, they're everywhere. Disobedient to their parents. I've noticed that people that are kind and compassionate to their mother and father, even after they become Ancient of Days, are usually really good people. I mean, just straight up, they'll give you the shirt off their back to help you. And those that are really dirt bags, they have always been disrespectful, even to their own mother and father. Ungrateful. Man at the ungrateful human beings that I cross paths with. Definitely a character trait that you will not find in somebody that's upright. I tell you, gratitude is something I always try to say thank you to people. I don't care if you just gave me something, a paper towel below my nose. Thank you. Gratitude is there. Unholy. I mean, that one that one's rock solid. I mean, you cross paths with so many people that are unholy, unrighteous. Heartless. Man, there are so many cruel and heartless people out here in this world. And I don't know if it's because that CNN every day, you get inundated with CNN, and it's just like a catastrophe after calamity, and you just get cold to it. I don't know if it's that, or it's just people just don't have kindness in their heart because they're lacking Messiah and the Most High. But unappeasable. There are some people, it doesn't matter. Like I said earlier about giving the shirt off your back, you could lay down, and they could walk right over you, and then they'd still be smite you to your face because you weren't a good enough walkover for them. Slanderous. People like that all everywhere without self-control. Our generation is crazy. I mean, they eating Tide Pods. I mean, like, it's nuts. Self-control is something, the fruits of the Spirit. That's something that I struggle in. And that's what I'm saying. I'm a sinner just like everybody else. Just saved by grace. And, pray for me, because that's the department I need to work in, because, like, patience, self-control, those are the things, that's where I come up short. And I think a lot of us believers, it's something that we definitely need to work at too, because the more control we have of self, the more that we can be a lighthouse to others, because we have our house in order, per se, our own temple in order. Brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit. Well, there's a bunch of people out there that meet that. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of Elohim. That can result into so many things. Most people just think of that flesh immediately. No, that could be, vacationing all the time when you could be working for the Father. That could be, sports, just consumed with sports, consumed with having a good time, and sexual things, and food. I mean, it's just like pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Yes, please let me soak in all the pleasure I can. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having pleasures in this life. I mean, we were created to enjoy this world, and to give glory back to the Most High. But, there's a thin red line on some of this stuff, guys. Having the appearance of godliness but denying its power, avoid such people. For among them are those who creep into households, capture weak women, burdened with sins and led astray by various passions, always learning and never able to arrive at a knowledge of the truth. That right there, to me though, that can summarize many pastors, deacons, and elders in the assemblies that is so-called the church today, because that they are just so self-absorbed. And not only that, but they keep learning and learning from the Word, but they never come to the knowledge of anything, because they only learn within this box. They don't want to know who the true Hebrews are. They don't want to know about the scriptural dimensions of this world, where, like, the Tesla car the other day, you can see pictures of it now where they had it in the studio, yet here it is supposed to be in space. I mean, it's just all this fakery. And they don't want to know the true nature of the earth and the world in which we live in, which could be a huge tool for soul winning out there for the kingdom. They don't want to know about the Creator's appointed times of worship. No. Let's just keep chugging along with Rome's calendar and abomination, and doing the SUN day worship and the SAT day worship, and neither one of those is a Sabbath of anything except that of falsehood and Rome. And so, it just keeps going into this whole spectrum of all this stuff. If you look at what's written in Timothy there, especially in that chapter, you can see that will define down almost 80% of humanity off the bat. And then when you start really thinning down the people that is in your inner circle in life, it's very slim. It is hard to find anybody that is Torah observant. And when I say Torah observant, I mean just follows the scriptures from the start to the end, you know, keeps the commandments, keeps the faith, eats that which is clean, does that which is right by their neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Tries to run the full gambit. It's rare. I think there's very few, I mean, man and woman, male, female. It's very rare to find people like that. I think we are so scattered that it's scary. I think that anybody that is careful to be observant in the last days, you know, me, I think personally, I just worry that I'm going to die a horrible death one day for standing up for what's right. I'm a deep sinner, and I owe it to the Most High to do whatever He wants me to do. But I think there's going to be a lot of us that it's going to cost us our life in a gruesome manner. And I'll tell you for why. Again, and I'll bring this video to a close. Just want to share this with you because I want to start sharing discussions again like we used to on the channel. Is that a friend of mine that I used to go to high school with, he went on to become a pilot. I think he served in the military. Anyway, long story short, he got into an argument with me over a post I posted on Facebook about the hoax about the Tesla car being in space. Now, I don't care. I'm just not going to argue with anybody anymore. I'm just going to share what's info. If you want to go look it up, look it up. If you don't, forget you. I don't care. I really don't. I just don't care. I'm not going to argue with people anymore. I ain't got time for it. I'm too tired. I'm 32 and I'm already too tired to argue with people anymore. Okay, it's just exhausting, taxing. All right. So anyway, it was interesting because at the end of the conversation, very short little dialogue we went back and forth, is that I kindly just told him to do his own research. He said that I was twisting the scripture and that I was viewing the viewpoints of extremists and twisting it and misconstruing it to my own ends, and something to that effect. And I swear I could just see the papal council talking about Martin Luther. That was just the things that went through my head whenever it was what he said. It just went completely from what we were talking about to just, I was just thinking to myself, this is exactly, that's as if it was right out of the pages of the Roman Catholic Church during Martin Luther's day. Because it's like, if you really try to look into the truth, if you really try to walk in the truth, and you try to present it to others, you're a heretic, you're an extremist, you must be put down, we can't have this around, and that's what's coming. And, you know, from the RFID chip thing going in somebody's hand in Michigan, you know, that business, to finally one day everybody's going to be getting a microchip in their hand to, you know, control buying and selling, to the church joining hands with Babylon, and now there's liberal churches. What the heck is a liberal church? I don't even want to know. And so, you know, things are rapidly progressing. And I don't know when the trumpets are going to start. I've been thinking this out, and guys, I promise I'm going to wrap this video up. Just lots of thoughts going through my mind today. Is that I think personally when the trumpets do start, that great earthquake kicks off. The day of trumpet 1, when I do see the literal stars fall out of the Shemayim from the heavens above, the firmament dome above, I think in and of that day, I am going to try my best to have disappeared from society in that day. Because, you know, that way because, you know, whether it's a long period of time between the trumpets or whether it's just boom, 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 back to back, at least, you know, you've had enough preemptive warning with that at that point to go ahead and remove yourself from society. Because there's 3 types of people I think going to be through the trumpets. There's going to be people in Group A. I consider myself Group A. That I know what's right, but I don't consider myself completely obedient. And I think that during that time it's going to be a great refining process, especially being a Gentile. I think there's going to be Group B, that there's people that they haven't really had a clear, full knowledge of the truth, picture of the truth, or they haven't really fully come to the knowledge of the truth yet. It's not that they won't accept it, they just didn't know. They were ignorant, and they're not stupid. They were just ignorant to the knowledge of it. They're going to be waking up. I think it's going to be really hard for those people because they've made no preparation. And then there's going to be group 3, which is going to be a very interesting group because it's half and half mingled crowd. It's like salt and pepper mixed together. You're going to have people that they kind of knew what was coming, but they really done nothing about it, and they're still really disobedient, and they're not going to probably ever change, but they do have the knowledge of what's going on and was to come. They just didn't care. And they still don't care even after the trumpets start. They're just going to be who they are and probably not inherit the kingdom. Now, the second bunch is those that never really know. They're not going to know, or they do come to the knowledge of it, and they're still not going to do anything about it. They're going to live their sinful little life, content to live here, die here on this earth, and, never see a part of the kingdom of heaven. And so, when you look at what I read out of Timothy today, if you know people that are already meeting those qualifications, I have a saying that I've always said about things in life is once considered, always considered. Luke has a good heart. And I mean well for everybody. But I have issues. I have faults. I have sins. I find myself repeating those things often. We're creatures of habit. Now, don't get me wrong. When the Most High comes into your life, when the Spirit comes into your life, you start a transformation when you really start walking with the Most High. We all backslide at times. We all sin at times. We all fail at times. But you'll see a consistency in people's life. The same thing with wicked people. You'll see a consistency in life. They're a dirtbag today and they're a dirtbag tomorrow. You can bank on it. They'll be a dirtbag day after tomorrow. So when you start putting, the pieces together, if you just go off that scripture I showed you today, as a thinning process now, the pain will be a lot less later, because I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the people in your life is going to scatter one day. If you really do stand for the Father, they are going to scatter like you are a plague. You're going to be an idiot. You're going to be a terrible person, a heretic, blah, blah, blah. They're going to label you everything. And it's just because you stood for truth. Listen, it's not because you were ever a felon, or you ever raised your hand against someone, or you ever spoke an unkind word, or you ever done anybody wrong, or stole from them, or slept with their wife, or worshipped other Elohim. No. It's just because you walked in the truth. That's why they're going to hate you. But be glad in that day and rejoice, for great is your reward in the kingdom. And, the meek will inherit the earth, not these haters. So I hope that's a help to you. A lot of you guys had asked me to start making scripture videos again, and to, share my thoughts on scripture again. Guys, I'm quiet anymore because I don't want to sound like a hermit on a hill. But I just can't bring myself to say much about anything anymore, because I feel like that there's a time for speaking, and I feel like there's a time for doing, and I have spoke for years. I think the time for doing is now. I literally, in about a month, I'll be living off-grid in my tiny house again on the new final permanent place, or at least for the duration for a while, and I don't know what to do about the other place. And so it's just, I'm trying to, in my own life, live what I've said. Because it takes a special character in a person, I think, to not only tell people what to do, but also actually follow through what you're saying. And I intend to be one of those people. The tiny house life thing, live a simple life, live a humble life, do right by your neighbor, owe nobody nothing but to love them. And that's where I'm at with it. That's where my mindset's at with it. And so I encourage you, I really do. If you ain't thinning toxic people up out your life, you best get on it in a big way. And if you find people that are of like mind, you really need to cleave to those people. Because I'm telling you, believers and the servants of the Most High Yah are slim in these days. What was it? It's I can't remember if it's 7. I think it was 7,000. 7,000 that had not bent their knee to Jezebel's false deity worship in Elijah's day. And so in the last day that we are living in now, there is many that have not bent their knee to false deities to worship, but or to turn their back against the Most High, however you want to put that together. But with that said, the time is swiftly approaching when that you're going to have to draw a line in the sand. Family, friends, co-workers, acquaintances, those people are going to end up either on one side of the line or the other. We can't miss them. We can't feel sorry about it. We can't have you can't go back. Okay, once considered, always considered. If they're going to do you wrong once, stab you in the back, they'll stab you the second time, so ain't no going back. And you've got to stand your ground. You got to be firm. You got to suck it up. You got to walk the path. And that's all I know to tell you. That's what old Luke's doing right now. It's what I've been doing for the past many years, and especially now in this past year. It hurts. It hurts, and you feel all alone. I'm depressed as crap half the time, guys. It's just how it is. It's a cruel world we live in. The cost of the kingdom is high. I don't know if I'll be alone in the end. I'm alone right now, and it sucks. But you know what? It is what it is. And you can't give up hope. You can't give up faith, because some of the greatest leaders, some of the greatest servants that ever served the Most High, y'all, were alone, and often. Okay? So the way I see it, and that's the last thing we'll say in this video, the Most High owns my soul. He owns my mind. I surrender it all to Him. Okay? I have, on my own free will, I surrender everything that I am, own, and can do. Okay? My talents, my being, all my possessions are His property. I ask Him to do with it whatever He sees fit. Whatever days and breath of life is left in my lungs, He may do with it as He sees fit. I ask only one thing in return, is that He gives me peace, a helpmate, and let me see the kingdom come and be gathered into it one day. I think that's all any of us should ask. You know, because anything beyond that is a blessing in and of itself, whatever it's material things or power or prosperity or status or whatever it is, it's a blessing given to us by Him. So with that said, guys, I hope this video has been a help to you. Until we see you again here, Seven Trumpets Prepper channel as always. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a most blessed day in Yahushua name.